Konbanwa, konnichiwa, hello everyone! Welcome to our first episode of Takatastic Adventure. So for this episode is a very special one. It was brought to you by the Japan Foundation and it happened during Comic Fiesta 2024. So during Comic Fiesta, I had the opportunity to attend a very special media session with the guests of Comic Fiesta 2024. They are Konomi Suzuki and also the vocalist from Myth and Roid, Miss KIHOW-san. So without further ado, here are some of the highlight sessions throughout the whole media session.
Hi, 今回のマレーシアのセットリストはとても悩みました。
大丈夫です。
大丈夫です。
続けてください。
わかりました。ただ私は2年前に、コミックフィエスタで呼んでいただいてマレーシアでライブをやらせてもらった時にお渡し会があってお客さんの声を実際に聞くことができて、その時にこの曲が聴けてよかったとかこの曲が次は聴きたいとかそういう声を肌で感じることができたので今回はその声も参考にしながらセットリストを作っていきました。
So for Suzuki Konomi, because she has had the experience of coming to Malaysia and having a fan meet in one of the CF in the prior years, she's had the experience to be able to meet the fans on the ground because of the fan meet. So she got she was able to listen to what the fans liked about that set list at the time and sort of what songs the fans wish they could have listened that she could have performed. So that was the sort of information, because she had the information, she could weave it into deciding the set list for this time around. And she had a very difficult time in choosing the songs to put on stage this time. KIHOW-san, お願いします。
私は前回マレーシアに来たのが2018年で、それからだと6年ほど経っているので、その間に出た新しい曲、アニメの曲もたくさん出てますので、それをぜひマレーシアのみんなにも聴いてもらいたいなっていうのがあったので、まだその前回はライブでできなかった楽曲をたくさん入れてるっていうのと、あとやっぱり今回はサードシーズンがリゼロの3シーズンで新しい曲歌ってますので、その曲はもちろんですし、過去のリゼロの曲も今すごくみんなが注目してくれてるポイントかなと思うので、たくさんやりたいなと。
So Ms. KIHOW also had the pleasure of performing in Malaysia in 2018. So considering the large gap in time between then and now, which is about 6 years, the band Myth and Roid has released a lot of new music as well. So she approached the question from another perspective, like what new thing can I bring to the table, while also thinking of what she couldn't do last time, what she couldn't perform. So the set list this time is full of both fresh and new songs, as well as songs that could have been performed last time that people said they wanted to hear. So I think they're both going to have a very, very amazing performance. 見えますね。
ありがとうございます。
Alright, next question.
はい、私はまず原作がある場合は原作を読ませていただいて、そこから自分が何を感じ取るかっていうことを作家さんや自分の音楽プロジェクトチームの皆さんと話をし合ってから楽曲を作るようにしています。なので例えば今回のリゼロのサードシーズンのオープニングテーマ「Reweave」新曲なんですけども、こちらの曲だと「君と共に未来を」っていうワードをお伝えして、そこから楽曲を作っていただいたという形です。私はリゼロの作品はアニメもそうなんですけどゲームだったりいろんなところで作品をご一緒させていただいてて、自分の歌手人生にとっても欠かせない存在だなというふうに感じていて、なのでこのリゼロと共に未来を作っていきたいなという気持ちもあって、君と共に未来をというテーマで作っていきました。
So for Suzuki-san, her process, of course, when she hears that she needs to write music for a pre-existing series, she will read through whatever materials there are, like reading the manga from start to finish, just to understand the sort of worldview the series carries and the sort of themes she can incorporate into her music. One good example is with the ReZero series, especially because it's been such a huge part of her history as a lyricist. When she's writing the lyrics, it always comes to mind, and especially this new song that she's released for the ReZero series, there's a very specific lyric that translates into a future together with you. Right, and what the sort of emotion she's put into the lyrics is because ReZero has been such a big part of her history as a lyricist, and she thinks ReZero's music will also be a big part of her her career as an artist going ahead. She's looking forward to working not just with the series but with the people in it as well. So that's a sort of process she thinks of and goes into, while also taking into consideration the thoughts and the feelings of the writers as well as the production during earlier stages of the meetings when they're just setting up the foundations.
リサンドロイドがアニメタイトルの作品の楽曲を作る際なんですけど、もちろん原作がある場合は取りましていただいたりとか、ストーリーだったりその登場する人物の心情を汲み取った上で、そのストーリーの中にあるスペースを見つける、音楽が入れる隙間みたいなものを匂いを嗅ぎ取ってそこから音楽を作っていくっていうことを思います。
So Myth and Roid follows a similar process to Suzuki Konomi when it comes to producing songs for anime titles, in that they also read through the original series, right? The manga, if it's based on a manga or otherwise. But through reading the manga, what they pay attention to is not just the feelings of the characters in the moment or the sort of worldview the world has, but also where they can slot music into the story, what spaces they can create to fill with their music within the boundaries created by the original work. And by getting that space, they can then go into it and fill it with Myth and Roid, the Myth and Roid world, if you might. Okay. Next question.
そうですね、なんか言葉で言っても言い足りないぐらいの気持ちがきっとあると思うので、この気持ちは歌にして皆さんに届け続けたいなっていうふうに思っているんですけども、私は特にやっぱりライブ活動というのをすごく大事にしていて、デビューしてすぐからずっとその気持ちは変わっていなくて、今月ライブやらなかったなっていう月はないぐらいライブをずっと大切にやっているので、やっぱり皆さんにそのライブを見てもらえるということがすごく嬉しいし、そのライブを見てもらえるというのは皆さんが私の曲を毎日聴いてくれてるからだと思っているので、本当に本当に感謝しています。とはいえ形に残したいなと思うので、これからも歌を歌い続けて皆さんの耳に届くように強い気持ちで歌い続けたいと思います。いつも応援ありがとうございます。
So there are lots of feelings that you can't put into words when you are in this industry. So to express her feelings, she instead chooses to use song. And because Suzuki Konomi, being Suzuki Konomi, song is the one thing that has been consistent for her from the start of her career. She has had concerts ever since her debut, to the point where it's, there's probably not a month that she hasn't done a concert since debuting, right? And the fact that people come to this concert mean that they also listen to her music. And know her music and appreciate her music, and she can't really put how she feels about that to words. So the best way she can express her thanks to her fans and her listeners is by performing and singing her heart out. So to everybody who's coming for any Suzuki Konomi live, she really appreciates it and she hopes you enjoy the time you have there as much as you've let her enjoy giving you the songs that she has made.
マレーシアの皆さん、本当にいつも私たちの音楽を愛してくださってありがとうございます。やっぱりさっきもお話ししたんですけども、2018年にマレーシアでライブをした時の皆さんからもらったエネルギーだったり、ライブでの経験がすごく自分の中に深く刻まれていて、やっぱりこれは自分がアーティストだからとかは関係なく、どんな人も楽しい日があれば悲しい日もあったり、いろんな思いを抱えて生活していると思うんですが、自分にももちろんそういった日があって、そんな中でもやっぱりみんなと楽しんだそういった日の思い出だったりとか、ライブのことを思い出したらやっぱりもっともっと前に進んでいけるなと感じることがあって、結構長い間今回戻ってくるまでマレーシアには来ることができなかったんですけども、その間日本で活動したりしている間もいつもみんなのことを思い出しながら音楽をしていたので、今回またみんなと会えることができて本当に嬉しい思いです。ありがとうございます。
So first and foremost, thank you to everybody in Malaysia who listens to Myth and Roid. And thank you for the love you have shown for our music and also listening to it in the first place. So, thinking back, I mean, she's not just saying this as an artist, but everybody has bad days where you have really big ups and really low lows. And it comes cyclically, right? So when you are going through those really days of really low lows, you sort of think back to the days where you had the really high highs. And one really significant high that KIHOW-san has experienced is, again, the 2018 concert that Myth and Roid had in Malaysia. And it's sort of so near and dear to her heart that even when she's out performing in other places, not whether it's Japan or otherwise, when she's having a low day, she sort of thinks back to that concert, you know, filled with faces and people and song who appreciate Myth and Roid's music, and really, she mentioned earlier that it gave her courage, so that sort of, it turns into a sort of way for her to push forward even on the really bad days. So she'd really like to thank everybody for the support they have given. All right, I have been informed that time is actually up now. Thank you so much for your amazing questions. 素敵なご回答ありがとうございます。Could we get a round of applause for
Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this very special session. Once again, I would like to thank the Japan Foundation of Malaysia for having us at the media session. And that is all for our first episode of Takatastic Adventure. Stay tuned for episode whereby we will bring you the latest update in the ACG scene or some pretty amazing activities happening hosted by yours truly. See ya!